In a realm where the veil between worlds is thin, where ancient winds whisper secrets and the stars themselves hold stories of old, there lies a kingdom unlike any other, an eternal kingdom of light, shadow, and endless wonder. This is a place where the forces of hope and despair wage a timeless battle, where every heart is a battleground and every soul a story waiting to be told. From the lips of the master come tales not merely of this world, but of realms beyond, parables woven like enchanted threads into the fabric of the cosmos, stories that sparkle with magic, mystery, and the power to transform. These are stories whispered in the hush of twilight, where faith blooms like a rare flower and courage rises like the dawn. Journey now with me through enchanted fields, secret vineyards, shadowed forests, and glowing lantern-lit villages. Listen closely, for within each tale lies a key, a spark to awaken the spirit, a beacon to guide the lost, and a call to join the eternal dance of light against darkness. This is no ordinary storybook. This is the parables of the kingdom, enchanted stories of the master, a realm where every word is a spell, every lesson a treasure, and every heart invited to partake in the greatest adventure of all, the quest for the kingdom itself. Prepare to step beyond the ordinary. The master's voice will guide you. The kingdom awaits. Chapter 1. The Sower and the Seeds of Light. In the valley of whispering winds, where the clouds drifted like silver ships across a boundless sky, there walked a solitary figure known only as the sower. Cloaked in robes that shimmered like woven moonbeams, and carrying a satchel that seemed to glow faintly in the twilight, he traveled the lands bearing a mysterious gift, seeds unlike any others, shimmering with the faintest pulse of celestial light. No one knew where he came from, nor what destiny guided his footsteps, but tales whispered that these seeds held the power to awaken the kingdom of Everlight, the hidden realm where the forces of hope and faith battled the creeping shadows of forgetfulness. One dawn, when the horizon burned with the fire of 1,000 suns, the sower stood on the crest of a hill overlooking a vast meadow. The villagers from nearby hamlets gathered silently, their faces eager yet wary, drawn by the pull of an ancient story waiting to unfold. The sower's voice rang clear, like the song of a distant bell in a silent forest, and all who listened felt their hearts quicken. There once was a sower, he began, who carried the seeds of light, sown not on any ordinary soil, but upon the very ground where the battle between memory and oblivion is waged. With that, the tale unfolded like a tapestry woven by the stars themselves. The sower first journeyed through the stony path of the forgotten, a harsh land where the earth was cracked and dry, as if time itself had hardened into stone. Here, the seeds fell upon cold, unyielding rock. The seeds shivered, yearning to sprout, but before they could root, dark ravens swooped down, winged shadows born of forgetfulness. They seized the seeds, carrying them away into the endless night. The land remained barren, a graveyard for dreams lost and truths ignored. The hearts of those who walked there were like the earth, hardened, silent, unwilling to remember the light. Undeterred, the sower pressed onward into the realm of shallow miracles, where the soil was thin and fragile, barely covering the stone beneath. Here, the seeds found purchase and sprouted swiftly, bursting into bright, eager shoots that shimmered in the morning sun. But the warmth of the sun of trials was fierce, and when its burning gaze fell upon the young sprouts, they withered and died, unable to grow deep roots. This realm was one of fleeting hope, where beginnings dazzled, but endurance was a stranger, and the bright promise faded before the trials could be overcome. Beyond the shallow lands lay the forest of tangled longings, a wild tangle of thorn vines and brambles that whispered secrets of greed, envy, and desire. The seeds fell among these choking plants, struggling to grow beneath the heavy shade of worldly temptations. Though they pushed upward, their light was dimmed, their growth stifled by the constant hunger of the forest's dark thorns. Here, the song of the kingdom was drowned beneath the cacophony of endless wanting. a place where hearts were trapped in a maze of illusions and forget the call of the Everlight. At last, the sower reached the valley of listening earth, a place untouched by shadow, where the soil was rich and dark, fragrant with the scent of ancient trees and flowing streams. The seeds settled into this welcoming ground and began to grow deep roots, drinking from the living waters that flowed beneath the surface. Their branches stretched eagerly toward the stars, their leaves shimmering with a light that seemed to come from beyond the mortal world. The trees bore fruit like no other, fruits of wisdom, joy, and eternal hope, glowing softly with a light that warmed even the coldest nights. Standing once more before the gathered villagers, the sower's eyes gleamed with the quiet power of 1,000 unseen worlds. His voice, now softer but no less commanding, wove the final lesson. "He who has ears," he said, "let him hear. For every heart is a garden. The kingdom is not far away, nor locked behind gates of gold. It lives in the soil of your soul, waiting for the seeds of light to be sown, nurtured, and grown. And though the shadows seek to steal your memory, your faith, your hope, the sower still walks among you, casting seeds that can never be lost." Some in the crowd turned away, their minds too hardened, their hearts too busy to hear. Others were puzzled, uncertain what to make of the tale. But a chosen few, those whose souls hungered for light, felt the seed of truth take root within them. For in their hearts, a spark ignited, promising a journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the enchanted kingdom of Everlight, where the eternal battle of light and shadow rages on. And so, the story of the sower and his seeds of light became a legend whispered across the lands, an invitation to all who would listen to join the dance of hope and faith in a world where magic and spirit are one. Chapter 2. The Hidden Treasure Beneath the Silver Lake. Beyond the valley of whispering winds, where the stars dipped low and kissed the waters of the Silver Lake, there lay a secret older than time itself. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of a treasure buried deep beneath the shimmering surface, a treasure not of gold or jewels, but of such wonder that it could unlock the gates of the kingdom of Everlight itself. The master, known to some as the teacher of secrets, once told a tale that seemed more like a fable spun by the fairies of the Twilight Forest. His voice carried the weight of mystery and the lightness of a songbird, drawing the hearts of all who longed for truth. "There was once a kingdom," he said, "hidden beneath the silver waters of a lake that mirrors the heavens. This kingdom was guarded not by armies or walls, but by silence and shadow. And in its heart lay a treasure so precious that whoever found it would hold the key to the eternal kingdom." The tale began with a young seeker named Elian, whose eyes sparkled with curiosity and whose spirit yearned for something beyond the ordinary. One night, beneath a sky thick with stars, Elian stood by the lake's edge, gazing into its depths. The water rippled softly, whispering secrets only the brave could hear. "Elian," the wind seemed to call, "the treasure is not where you look, but where you listen." Guided by a voice only he could hear, Elian dove beneath the lake's silver surface. The cold wrapped around him like a cloak, but his heart burned with courage. Deeper and deeper he swam, past shimmering schools of fish that glowed like fireflies, through underwater groves of crystal trees, until he reached a cavern bathed in soft, otherworldly light. There, in the heart of the cavern, lay a chest carved from ancient stone and adorned with symbols of stars and flames. But when Elian opened it, he found no gold or gems. Instead, the chest held a single, small seed, glowing softly with a light that seemed alive. Bewildered but hopeful, Elian carried the seed back to the surface. As he emerged, the night air hummed with magic. The seed pulsed in his hand, whispering a secret only the soul could understand, that the greatest treasures are not riches to be taken, but gifts to be planted and grown. He planted the seed by the shore, and overnight, a magnificent tree grew, its branches heavy with fruits that shone like stars and whispered ancient songs. The tree became a beacon, drawing travelers from distant lands who came to taste its fruit and hear its stories. The master's voice softened. The treasure beneath the silver lake is not buried wealth, but the promise of growth and transformation. Like the seed, faith must be planted in the soil of the heart, watered with patience and tended with love. Only then does it bloom into the eternal kingdom. The villagers listened, their eyes wide with wonder. Some saw only a story. Others glimpsed a truth deeper than the lake's depths. And as the night grew still, the silver waters reflected a single bright star, a reminder that beneath every surface lies a treasure waiting to be discovered by those who dare to seek. Chapter 3. The Lost Sheep and the Moonlit Hunt. In a realm where twilight wove silver threads through the sky and stars shimmered like distant lanterns, there was a shepherd named Malachi. His heart beat in rhythm with the kingdom of Everlight, a place unseen by most but felt deeply by those who listened beyond the veil of the ordinary. Malachi was entrusted with a flock unlike any other, a gathering of souls wrapped in wool, each one precious and guarded with unwavering care. Night after night, beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, Malachi counted his sheep. The soft murmur of the valley was a lullaby for the creatures and a song of protection for the shepherd. But one night, as the stars twinkled shyly behind a veil of clouds, Malachi's count faltered. One sheep was missing. The lost lamb was not just a creature of wool and flesh. It was a symbol of something far greater. The fragile spark of faith, easily lost but fiercely sought. The news spread among the villagers like a ripple through still water, a whisper of worry and hope. Without a moment's hesitation, Malachi grasped his lantern, its golden glow slicing through the darkness like a beacon of courage. He stepped into the wilderness, a place where shadows breathed and mysteries danced just beyond sight. The forest greeted him with whispers of ancient songs and rustling leaves that seemed alive with secrets. The night was thick with magic, and the air shimmered with unseen eyes watching, waiting. Malachi's footsteps were steady, his spirit unyielding. As he ventured deeper, the world around him changed. The trees grew taller, their branches entwining like fingers guarding hidden realms. The stars above gleamed brighter, casting silver paths on the forest floor, guiding the shepherd on his quest. In the heart of this enchanted wilderness lay the Valley of Echoes, a place where lost hopes and forgotten dreams lingered like ghosts. It was said that those who entered the valley could hear the whispers of the past, the sighs of souls who had wandered too far from light. Malachi's voice cut through the silence, calm and sure. "Where are you, little one? Come back to the fold." A faint bleat answered, a fragile thread in the vast darkness. Following the sound, Malachi found the lamb trapped beneath a cruel bramble of thorns, twisted vines that whispered lies of abandonment and fear. The lamb trembled, caught between hope and despair. The shepherd knelt and reached out with hands that bore the strength of love and mercy. As he gently freed the lamb, the thorns recoiled and withered, their dark power broken by the light of compassion. Raising the lamb onto his shoulders, Malachi felt the valley transform. Flowers bloomed where once only shadows thrived, and a gentle breeze carried the melody of stars singing a song of restoration. The journey back was filled with a quiet joy. The lamb nestled close as the flock awaited their return. The villagers rejoiced, their hearts swelling with the timeless truth of the tale. No soul, however lost, is beyond the reach of grace. The Master's words echoed in the night air. The kingdom of Everlight pursues the wandering, for every heart is worth finding, every lost lamb precious beyond measure. And beneath the moon's eternal watch, the flock rested safe, united, whole, and wrapped in the endless embrace of love's light. Chapter 4. The Pearl of the Hidden Kingdom. In the mist-veiled corners of the enchanted lands, where the skies seemed to hold their breath and the earth whispered forgotten secrets, there was told a tale of a treasure unlike any other, the Pearl of the Hidden Kingdom. It was not a jewel of mere beauty, but a radiant symbol of purity and wisdom, coveted by many but found by few. The master, whose voice was like the river's gentle song, spoke often of this pearl, a secret meant to be discovered by those who dared to journey beyond what eyes could see. The story begins with a humble merchant named Lysandra, a woman of simple means but fierce determination. Her life was spent traveling dusty roads and bustling markets, seeking fortunes in trinkets and tales. Yet, beneath her pragmatic heart burned a quiet longing for something eternal, a light that would not fade with the setting sun. One evening, as the twilight bled into night and stars pricked the velvet sky, Lysandra found herself drawn to a forgotten shore where the sea whispered stories of distant realms. There, in the shimmering sands, she discovered an ancient map, a fragile scroll inscribed with cryptic symbols and riddles hinting at the pearl's resting place. Guided by dreams and the mysterious pull of the map, Lysandra embarked on a journey through realms where reality melted into magic. She crossed the forest of silent echoes, where every leaf bore a secret, traversed the mountains of endless twilight, where shadows stretched long and time folded upon itself, and sailed across the sea of shifting mists, whose waves sang songs of forgotten hopes. Each step tested her resolve. The path was tangled with illusions and veiled dangers, and the guardians of the pearl, ethereal beings woven of light and shadow, challenged her not with swords, but with riddles that pierced the heart. One guardian, a figure cloaked in shimmering mist, spoke thus: "What is the pearl that shines brightest when given away, yet dims when held too tightly?" Lysandra pondered in silence, her soul reaching beyond words. Then, softly, she answered, "It is love, the light that grows not in possession, but in selfless giving." With a gentle nod, the guardian parted the mists, revealing a hidden grotto where the pearl of the hidden kingdom rested upon a bed of crystal lilies, glowing with a pure light that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the world itself. As Lysandra touched the pearl, she felt a surge of clarity and peace, a connection to the kingdom of everlight that transcended all earthly bounds. She understood then that the pearl was not merely an object, but a calling, a reminder that true treasure lies in the unguarded heart, open and shining. Returning to her village, Lysandra shared the pearl's light with all who would receive it. Her journey became a legend, a tale whispered under starlit skies and told by the fireside, inspiring others to seek their own hidden treasures within. The master's voice lingered in the air. The kingdom's greatest riches are not kept in chests of gold, but in hearts made radiant by love freely given. And so, beneath the eternal canopy of stars, the pearl of the hidden kingdom shone on, an everlasting beacon for those who walk the enchanted path of faith and wonder. Chapter 5: The Wise Builder and the Castle of Dreams. In a land where the skies stretched endlessly like a vast tapestry woven from twilight and dawn, there lived a builder named Gideon. Not just any craftsman, Gideon was a dreamer whose hands could shape more than stone. They molded hope, faith, and the very foundations of the kingdom of Everlight itself. His heart was set on a vision, to build a castle unlike any other, one that would stand unshaken against the fiercest storms, a fortress of light and refuge for all who believed in the power of truth. The villagers marveled as Gideon worked, day after day, placing stone upon stone with care and purpose. They whispered among themselves, "Why build a castle here, where the winds are wild and the seas roar like dragons? Why pour strength into walls destined to be torn apart?" Gideon's smile was gentle but sure. A house built on shifting sands may rise for a while, but when the storms come, it falls. Only a house built on solid rock can endure forever. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the clouds with hues of gold and crimson, the master shared a tale, one that seemed to carry the very breath of the stars. There was once a wise builder who understood that the strength of a castle did not come from its grandeur or height, but from the ground upon which it was founded. He sought not the admiration of men, but the blessing of the kingdom. Gideon's journey began not with grand stones or lofty towers, but with searching. He walked the wild cliffs that overlooked the endless sea, feeling the raw power of wind and waves crashing below. Many thought the place too harsh, too wild for any lasting structure. But Gideon's eyes saw deeper. He knelt and placed his hand upon the earth, sensing the ancient rock buried beneath layers of sand and time. With steady hands and unwavering heart, he began to lay the foundation on this hidden bedrock, solid, unyielding, and eternal. Day turned to weeks, and the castle slowly rose. The stones were chosen with care, fitted together like pieces of a cosmic puzzle, each one a testament to faith and endurance. Yet the storms came, fierce and unforgiving. Tempests of doubt and fear lashed against the walls. Thunderous winds threatened to tear down what had been built. Some villagers began to lose hope. "The castle will fall," they murmured. "The storm is too strong." But Gideon stood firm, undeterred. With hands worn but steady, he repaired the walls again and again, his spirit unbroken. "Walls built on sand cannot hold," he said, "but those laid on the rock of truth will weather any storm." As the castle reached toward the stars, its towers gleaming with light, the villagers understood something more profound. Their own lives, they realized, were like castles. The foundation they chose, whether shifting dreams or eternal truth, would determine if their faith stood strong or crumbled in darkness. Within those walls, light never dimmed. It was a place where hope sang through the halls and courage blossomed in every stone. The castle was not just a building. It was a beacon, a living testament to the power of steadfast faith and the kingdom's enduring strength. The master's voice, soft and sure, lingered like a warm breeze. "Build your life on the rock of the kingdom, and no shadow, no storm can ever take your light away." And so, the castle of dreams stood tall, a shining symbol that faith grounded in truth and love is a fortress no darkness can overthrow, a home where the light of the kingdom burns eternal. Chapter 6: The Sower and the Enchanted Fields. In a kingdom woven from the threads of dreams and dawn, where fields stretched like golden oceans beneath a sky brushed with endless hues, there lived a sower named Asa. He was no ordinary man who simply scattered seeds into the earth. Asa's heart beat in harmony with the kingdom of Everlight, and the seeds he carried were imbued with magic, the promise of hope, faith, and the birth of new life. One radiant morning, as the first light kissed the hills and the birds sang ancient melodies, Asa filled his hands with glowing seeds, each one shimmering faintly like a star caught in the palm of his hand. The master's voice whispered in his memory, "The kingdom is like a field, vast and full of mystery. The seeds you sow will grow in different ways, some bursting forth with abundance, others struggling in silence. Yet each seed holds the breath of possibility." With a heart both humble and brave, Asa stepped into the expansive fields, where the soil welcomed him like an old friend. He scattered the seeds generously, letting them fall upon every kind of ground, soft and fertile earth, dry and rocky patches, even tangled thickets where thorns reached out like jealous guards. To the villagers watching from afar, Asa's actions seemed reckless. Why cast precious seeds where the ground was so unlikely to nurture life? But Asa saw beyond the surface. He understood the invisible stories hidden beneath each patch of earth, stories of hearts that would receive the kingdom's light differently. In the days that followed, the fields began to sing their story. On the soft, fertile soil, seeds sprouted with joyous speed, their green shoots stretching upward toward the sky in a dance of life. But on rocky ground, the sprouts were fragile and short-lived, unable to root deeply before the sun's harsh gaze dried them. Among the thorns, some seedlings struggled painfully, suffocated before they could bloom. The villagers gathered, perplexed by the uneven growth. Why do some seeds fail to thrive? They wondered aloud. Asa's eyes held quiet wisdom as he replied, "The kingdom's message falls upon many kinds of hearts. Some receive it with joy and openness, like soft earth ready for rain. Others are hardened by doubt or distracted by the worries of the world. Still, every seed carries the potential to grow, if only the heart is willing to be transformed. One afternoon, a curious child approached Asa, her gaze filled with wonder and longing. How do we know if our hearts are the kind that will let the kingdom grow? Kneeling beside her, Asa placed a glowing seed in her small palm. The soil of the heart is not fixed, he said gently. It changes by the choices we make. We can clear away the stones of bitterness, pull out the thorns of fear and anger, and water our souls with kindness and faith. When we do, even the smallest seed can grow into a mighty tree that shelters and nourishes many. As seasons passed and skies shifted from radiant dawns to gentle dusks, the enchanted fields bloomed in places where hearts had been tenderly tended. Golden stalks swayed in harmony with the breeze, their rustling leaves carrying the music of the kingdom's eternal promise. From the horizon, the Master's voice rose like a soft wind through the fields. Those who hear the kingdom's call and open their hearts will bear fruit 100-fold. The harvest of faith comes not by chance, but through a willing spirit and steadfast love. And so, beneath the vast and ever-changing sky, Asa's seeds flourished, each one a spark of light woven into the grand tapestry of the kingdom. The fields became a living reminder that faith, when sown with care and love, can transform even the hardest soil into a garden of endless grace. Chapter 7. The Lost Sheep and the Whispering Woods. In a realm where the woods breathed with ancient life and shadows danced with flickering light, there was a tale told by the master of a shepherd named Elias, whose heart was as vast as the skies and as tender as the morning dew. Elias was the keeper of a great flock, but among the countless sheep was one, small and wayward, that slipped beyond the reach of the safe pastures and wandered into the mysterious whispering woods, a place where few dared to follow. The sheep was no ordinary creature. It was a symbol of those who lose their way, whose souls falter in the thick darkness of doubt, fear, and loneliness. The kingdom of Everlight sent Elias to find this lost lamb, to bring it home where it belonged, in the warm embrace of faith and belonging. Elias set out at dawn, his staff steady in hand, his eyes sharp with hope and determination. The forest awaited him, alive with whispers, soft voices of ancient trees, secrets rustling in the leaves, and shadows that seemed to watch silently. The deeper Elias walked, the thicker the mist grew, weaving a veil that threatened to swallow him whole. But Elias's heart was guided by a light no shadow could extinguish, a light born of love and unwavering faith. He called the sheep's name softly. Each whisper carried like a prayer through the woods. "Come back, little one. The kingdom awaits." The woods tested him with illusions, a path that twisted into itself, voices that mimicked his own, the chilling silence of unseen watchers. Yet Elias pressed on, his footsteps sure and steady, his faith a lantern in the darkness. At last, he found the lamb, trembling beneath an ancient oak whose roots curled like the fingers of time. The sheep's eyes were wide with fear, lost in the tangled maze of the forest. Elias knelt and extended his hand, gentle and kind. "Fear not," he said. "You are not forgotten. The kingdom's love will always find you." With patient care, Elias lifted the lamb into his arms and turned back toward the path home. The woods seemed to part before him, the shadows retreating like waves before a rising tide. The journey back was filled with quiet joy and the soft murmur of hope renewed. When they emerged from the forest's edge, the flock gathered, their voices rising in a chorus of celebration. The lost sheep was found, restored to the fold, a living testament to the kingdom's boundless mercy. The Master's voice lingered like a gentle breeze. In the kingdom, no one is beyond the reach of love. The light shines brightest when it brings home those who have wandered in darkness. And so, under the watchful stars, the story of Elias and the lost sheep became a legend, whispered by the winds and carried in the hearts of all who seek the path back to light, reminding them that no soul is ever truly lost in the enchanted realm of the kingdom. Chapter 8. The Hidden Treasure Beneath the Olive Tree. In a sun-drenched valley where the air carried the delicate scent of blooming wildflowers and the soft hum of bees, an ancient olive tree stood sentinel over the land. Its twisted, gnarled branches reached skyward like the arms of a timeless guardian, its roots tangled deep beneath the earth, holding secrets known only to those who dared to listen with hearts wide open. The master told the story of Levi, a humble seeker whose soul longed for a treasure far greater than gold, jewels, or earthly riches. This treasure was hidden beneath the roots of the old olive tree, a secret that shimmered just out of sight, waiting for one who could see beyond the surface, beyond greed and haste. For many seasons, Levi had heard whispers of the tree's secret. Villagers came and went, some digging feverishly in hopes of unearthing gold, others dismissing the legend as mere myth. But Levi's approach was unlike theirs. He carried no tools of excavation, no greed-fueled dreams, only patience, humility, and an unshakable faith in the mysteries of the kingdom. Day after day, Levi sat beneath the ancient branches, closing his eyes and opening his soul to the quiet murmurs of the earth. The breeze carried whispers of ancient tales, the roots hummed a deep song of endurance, and slowly, Levi's heart awakened to a truth far more precious than any treasure chest could hold. The seasons changed. The golden sun painted the sky with fiery hues of dawn and dusk, and Levi's spirit grew calm and steadfast, like the roots of the olive tree sinking deeper into the rich soil. One evening, as the last light of day bathed the valley in a soft glow, Levi felt a sudden illumination, a spark of understanding that shone brighter than any gem. "The treasure," he whispered to the wind, "is not silver nor gold, but the life that grows from deep roots, faith, hope, and love intertwined, nourished by grace unseen yet deeply felt." Levi rose from the earth, his heart light and overflowing with joy. He walked through the valley sharing the secret that true treasure is found not by rushing or grasping, but by patience, faith, and the willingness to be still, to listen to the whispers of the kingdom within. The ancient olive tree remained, a silent sentinel watching over the valley. Its roots held firm, its branches stretched wide, and beneath it grew the richest treasure of all, a truth that transcends time. The master's voice, soft yet clear as the evening breeze, carried through the valley. True treasure is not buried beneath the soil, but discovered within the heart of those who seek with humility and faith. Such treasure is a light that no darkness can ever steal. And so, the story of the hidden treasure beneath the olive tree became a beacon, a call to all wanderers and seekers, reminding them that the kingdom's greatest riches lie not in worldly things, but in the deep, unshakable roots of faith that anchor the soul through every storm and season. Chapter 9. The Pearl of the Deep. Far beyond the reaches of ordinary sight, beneath the shimmering surface of a vast, enchanted sea, lay a secret whispered only among the waves and stars, a pearl of incomparable beauty, hidden in the darkest depths. This pearl was said to hold the essence of the kingdom itself, a light so pure, so radiant, it could illuminate the heart's deepest shadows and awaken the lost to a new dawn. The master told the tale of Miriam, a brave and curious soul who yearned for truth beyond the shores of her familiar world. She was a fisherman's daughter, her hands calloused from casting nets into the restless sea, but her heart was drawn by a calling far stronger than the pull of the tides. One twilight, as the sky blazed with streaks of amber and violet, Miriam stood on the cliff's edge, gazing into the infinite horizon. The sea whispered secrets in a language older than time itself, inviting her to dive into its mystery. With courage burning bright, Miriam plunged into the cool embrace of the water. The ocean welcomed her like an ancient friend, wrapping her in currents that shimmered with silver light. Deeper and deeper she swam, through gardens of coral glowing like enchanted fire, past schools of fish that flickered like living stars. But as she ventured farther, the light dimmed, and the water grew thick with shadow. The pearl lay hidden in a cavern beneath the sea floor, guarded by trials that tested the spirit and heart. Miriam faced dark waters where fear tried to pull her under, swirling tempests of doubt and despair. But she remembered the Master's words. The kingdom is found where faith dives beyond sight, where courage meets the unknown. With a steady breath, she pressed onward, guided by an inner light that refused to falter. At last, she reached the cavern's heart, where the pearl rested on a bed of gleaming shells, its surface glowing with an unearthly radiance. Reaching out, Miriam touched the pearl, and a wave of warmth and clarity surged through her. In that moment, she understood that the pearl was not merely a treasure of the sea, but a symbol of the kingdom's truth hidden within every soul, a truth that shines brightest when embraced with faith and courage. Emerging from the depths, Miriam carried the pearl's light back to the surface, a beacon for all who wander lost in shadows. Her journey became a legend whispered by sailors and dreamers, a testament to the power of faith to illuminate even the darkest waters. The Master's voice echoed over the waves. Seek the pearl not in the depths of the world, but in the depths of your heart. There you will find the kingdom's light, shining eternal and true. And so, beneath the vast sky and endless sea, the story of Miriam and the Pearl of the Deep lived on, an enchanted call to all who dare to dive beyond fear into the boundless mystery of the kingdom. Chapter 10. The Two Builders and the Everlasting City. Long ago, in a land where mountains touched the heavens and rivers sang ancient songs, there was a tale told by the Master about two builders, men whose hands shaped the future and whose choices would echo through time. They were called Ephraim and Jaron, each determined to build a home that would stand strong against the storms of life. Ephraim, a man of haste and pride, chose to build his house upon the shifting sands beside the restless sea. The sand glittered like scattered diamonds under the sun, yet it was loose and ever-moving, an unstable foundation that promised beauty but not strength. Jaron, wise and patient, sought a rock that lay deep within the valley, a stone as old as the mountains themselves, unyielding and steadfast. He knew that to build a lasting home, one must start with a foundation that endures the fiercest winds and floods. The village watched as Ephraim hurried to raise his walls, eager to finish before the next moon. His house rose quickly, shining with polished wood and bright windows, a marvel to behold. Jaron, however, took his time. He dug deep, laying stones one by one, feeling the steady heartbeat of the earth beneath his hands. Seasons turned, and the skies darkened with the coming of a great storm. Thunder roared like the wrath of ancient gods, and torrents of rain hammered the earth. Ephraim's house, perched precariously on the sand, shook and trembled with each gust of wind. The sea, angry and wild, clawed at its base. Then, with a great crash, Ephraim's house was swept away by the flood, its shining walls torn asunder, scattered like leaves in a tempest. Jaron's house, rooted deep upon the rock, stood firm and unshaken. The storm raged, but the home endured, safe and secure, a shelter in the tempest. The Master's voice rose above the storm's fury. The kingdom is like a house built on the rock. Those who hear my words and build their lives upon them will withstand every trial, for their foundation is eternal. Ephraim, humbled and broken, sought Jaron's guidance, and together they rebuilt, not on sand, but on the enduring rock. Their story became a beacon to all who wander, a call to build their lives on the unshakable truth of the kingdom. And so, beneath skies that shift and seasons that change, the everlasting city stands, not made of stones alone, but of faith, hope, and the steadfast love that withstands every storm. Chapter 11. The Vineyard and the Watchful Keeper. In a lush, rolling land where the sun bathed the earth in golden warmth and the air was rich with the scent of ripening grapes, there was a vineyard unlike any other, called the Kingdom's Vineyard. its vines stretched wide, heavy with clusters of fruit that promised a harvest full of sweetness and life. The master spoke of a keeper named Jonah, a watchful guardian who tended the vineyard with unwavering care. Jonah knew that the vineyard was not merely a place of labor, but a sacred ground where the heart's work bore fruit visible only to those who believed. Every day, Jonah walked among the vines, pruning away the dead branches and nurturing the living shoots. He understood that the vineyard's success depended on more than soil and rain. It required patience, wisdom, and a watchful spirit. One season, strange shadows began to creep across the vineyard. Thieves came the night, stealing clusters of the ripest grapes. Weeds tangled the rows, choking the young plants. A harsh drought withered the earth, threatening the harvest. The villagers whispered doubts and fears, but Jonah did not despair. Instead, he strengthened the walls, called the workers to vigilance, and prayed beneath the stars for the kingdom's blessing. "You must tend the vineyard with your whole heart," Jonah said to the people. "For the kingdom's fruit grows only where love and faith are sown alongside the vines." One morning, as the dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and gold, Jonah discovered a vine unlike any other. Its branches bore grapes glowing with an ethereal light, sweet and pure beyond all measure. This vine was the heart of the vineyard, fed by the deepest roots of faith. The villagers gathered, tasting the fruit that seemed to carry the very essence of the kingdom's grace. Their spirits lifted, and hope blossomed anew. The master's voice echoed across the hills. "The kingdom is like a vineyard, and you are its keepers. Tend your hearts as you tend the vines, for in patience and care lies the sweetest harvest." And so, beneath the endless sky, the vineyard flourished, an enchanted land where faith and diligence blossomed side by side, reminding all that the kingdom's bounty is born from the watchful love of those who serve it. Chapter 12. The Candle in the Darkness. In a land where shadows stretched long and the night often cloaked the hills in a velvet embrace, there was a small village perched on the edge of a great forest, known as the Realm of Twilight. The villagers lived in constant fear of the encroaching darkness, a darkness that whispered doubts, sowed despair, and threatened to swallow the light of hope altogether. The master told the story of a young girl named Selah, whose heart was as bright as the morning sun and whose courage burned fiercer than any shadow. Selah carried a candle, simple, small, and flickering, but to her, it was a beacon of promise in a world that seemed eager to forget the light. One evening, as the village lay shrouded beneath a moonless sky, the darkness deepened, twisting into creatures of shadow that prowled the outskirts, seeking to snuff out every spark of hope. The villagers cowered behind their doors, their hearts heavy with fear. But Selah stepped forward, her candle held high. She knew that even the smallest light could defy the greatest dark. With each step, the candle's flame wavered but never faltered. It cast a warm glow on the path ahead, pushing back the creeping shadows inch by inch. As she walked into the forest, the shadows hissed and clawed at her, trying to extinguish the light. Yet Selah's faith was a shield stronger than any sword, her courage a fire that no wind could quench. In the deepest part of the forest, where darkness was thickest, Selah met the Shadow King, a being forged from doubt and fear, who thrived on the despair of lost souls. The Shadow King spoke in whispers, offering Selah promises of safety if she would surrender her light. But Selah stood firm, her candle burning bright against the blackness. "The kingdom's light is stronger than your shadows," she declared. "It shines not because it is big or bold, but because it is steadfast and true." The Shadow King recoiled, powerless against a light born of faith and hope. Slowly, the darkness lifted, revealing the forest's hidden beauty, the glimmer of stars through the leaves, the soft rustle of life stirring in the night. Selah returned to the village, her candle still burning, a symbol of the kingdom's enduring light that no darkness could overcome. The villagers, inspired by her courage, rekindled their own flames, lighting lanterns in windows and hearts alike. The master's voice rang clear through the twilight. You are the light of the kingdom. A single candle can ignite 1,000 more. Let your faith shine, and no darkness shall ever overcome you. And so, in the land of twilight, the story of Selah and her candle became a legend, a testament to the power of even the smallest light to conquer the deepest darkness, and a call to all who dwell in shadow to carry the kingdom's flame forward. Chapter 13. The Lost Sheep and the Shepherd's Quest. In a realm where rolling hills stretched endlessly beneath skies painted with the hues of dawn and dusk, there lived a shepherd named Elier, a guardian of 1,000 souls, each one a precious light in a vast kingdom. Elier's heart was as wide as the meadows he tended, and his love for his flock was known far and wide. Every sheep was cherished, each one named and cared for, not as mere creatures, but as treasured children of the kingdom. One morning, as the first blush of sunlight kissed the dew-drenched grass, Elier counted his sheep and found, to his great distress, that one was missing. A single lamb, gentle and shy, had wandered beyond the safety of the fold and vanished into the wilds beyond. The village whispered tales of the deep woods, twisted shadows, and whispered dangers, but Elier's resolve was firm. No soul would be lost if he could help it. Without a moment's hesitation, he gathered a cloak and staff and stepped beyond the familiar paths into the unknown. The wilderness greeted him with a silent breath, the tall grasses swaying like ancient sentinels, and the trees standing as pillars between earth and sky. Every step was a journey deeper into mystery, where light and shadow danced in uneasy balance. Elier's search was not an easy one. The wild whispered secrets in languages forgotten, and shadows shifted like living things. Thorny bushes tore at his clothes, rivers rushed with icy currents, and the wind carried eerie cries that tested his courage. But in his heart blazed a fierce light, the unyielding hope that no sheep, no soul would be left behind. Along the way, Elier encountered creatures of the forest, a wise owl with eyes like molten gold, who guided him with silent wings, a gentle deer who showed him hidden trails, and even a sly fox who tried to lead him astray with riddles and laughter. Each encounter was a test of faith and patience, but Elier's spirit did not falter. Days turned into nights and back again, yet Elier pressed on, driven by the love that could not be measured. Then, as the sun sank beneath the horizon and the stars began their silent vigil, he heard a faint bleat carried on the night wind, a fragile cry of desperation and hope. Following the sound with renewed vigor, Elier found the lamb trapped in a tangled thicket, its wool torn and muddied, eyes wide with fear but still burning with life. The thorns had cut deep, but the lamb's spirit remained unbroken. With gentle hands, Elier freed the lamb, wrapping it in his cloak and whispering words of comfort. As he carried it homeward through the darkness, he spoke softly, telling tales of the kingdom's endless grace and the unbreakable bond between shepherd and flock. When at last they reached the fold, the other sheep gathered around, their eyes gleaming with joy and relief. The village rejoiced, for the lost had been found, the wandering brought safely home. Elier's heart swelled with a love deeper than any ocean, knowing that no shadow, no wilderness, was too vast for the kingdom's reach. The master's voice rang through the hills and valleys, gentle yet commanding. Just as the shepherd leaves the 99 to seek the one, so too does the kingdom pursue every lost soul with relentless love. No heart is forgotten, no path too far. In the great tapestry of life, each thread is precious, woven together by mercy and grace. And so, the tale of Elier and the lost sheep became a beacon for all wanderers, an eternal reminder that in the kingdom, every soul matters, every heart is sought, and every lost lamb will one day find its way home. Chapter 14. The Hidden Treasure in the Field. Beyond the rolling hills and whispering meadows of the kingdom, there was a story the master often shared, a tale of a hidden treasure buried deep within a humble field. It was not gold nor jewels, but something far more precious, a secret waiting to be discovered by those with eyes to see and hearts willing to seek. In a small village lived a young man named Tobias, a dreamer who longed for adventure but was bound by the simple life of tilling the soil. Each day, he worked the fields, planting seeds and hoping for harvest, yet his soul yearned for something greater, something that would change his life forever. One dawn, as the first light spilled across the land like a river of fire, Tobias stumbled upon an old, weathered map hidden beneath the roots of an ancient oak. The map was marked with symbols and signs that whispered of a treasure hidden beneath the earth, a treasure that promised untold riches to whoever could find it. Fueled by curiosity and the call of destiny, Tobias set out to uncover the treasure. He dug beneath the sun, turning the earth with steady hands and unwavering faith. Days turned into weeks, and though the village mocked his quest as foolish, Tobias persisted, guided by a quiet hope that stirred in his heart. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, his shovel struck something hard, a wooden chest, worn by time but sturdy and true. With trembling hands, he opened it, expecting riches and splendor. But inside lay only a simple scroll, yellowed with age. Unfurling the scroll, Tobias read the words inscribed with ancient ink. The kingdom's treasure is not gold or silver, but the seed of faith planted deep within the heart. Whoever finds this treasure shall know the true wealth of love, grace, and everlasting life. At first, Tobias felt a pang of disappointment. Yet as he stood beneath the vast sky, he understood the truth. This treasure was far richer than any gold. It was the gift of the kingdom itself, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those brave enough to seek it. Returning to his village, Tobias shared the scroll's message, and slowly, the hearts of the people began to change. They saw their fields not just as soil, but as sacred ground where faith could grow, where the simplest seeds held the promise of eternal life. The Master's voice echoed across the hills. The kingdom is like a treasure hidden in a field, found only by those who search with earnest hearts. It is the faith you plant, the love you nurture, that yields the greatest riches of all. And so, the story of Tobias and the hidden treasure became a legend of hope, a call to all who seek to find their true worth, not in worldly riches, but in the eternal riches of the kingdom. Chapter 15. The Great Feast and the Invited Guests. In the heart of the kingdom, there was once a grand feast unlike any other, held beneath the vast sky where stars danced like jewels on a velvet cloak. The master told of a great king who prepared a magnificent banquet, spreading tables with the finest foods, fragrant spices, and golden goblets that gleamed like captured sunlight. The king sent his servants far and wide, inviting all to the feast, nobles and peasants, strangers and friends alike. The tables were set in a sprawling garden, alive with the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle hum of life. Yet, as the servants traveled through villages and towns, many who were invited found excuses to decline. Some said they were busy tending their fields, others were distracted by their own pursuits, and a few simply ignored the summons, caught in the web of their pride and indifference. Undeterred, the king commanded his servants, "Go to the crossroads, to the highways and byways. Bring in the lost, the weary, the forgotten. Fill my house with those who would not otherwise come." So the servants journeyed beyond the familiar paths, gathering wanderers, the poor, the brokenhearted, and those who longed for belonging. They brought them into the great garden, where the feast awaited. The kingdom's joy swelled as the tables filled, laughter rising like the song of the dawn. Strangers became family, and all who came tasted the sweetness of acceptance and grace. The master's voice rose above the celebration. The kingdom is like a great feast prepared for all. Many are invited, but few choose to come. Yet the invitation is endless, and the doors always open to those who hear and accept. As the stars shimmered overhead, the feast became a symbol, a promise that in the kingdom, No one is left out, no heart beyond the reach of welcome, and the greatest joy is found in sharing the banquet of love. And so, the tale of the great feast lives on, calling all to hear the invitation and step into the light of the kingdom, where every soul has a place at the table and every heart is cherished.